Hello guys, Josh here. Welcome back to another episode of Review Rewind. Hope you guys are enjoying these. I'm having a lot of fun making them. They do take a little while because you gotta write the script, find some cool facts, and then find the pictures, obviously. Outside of that, they don't really take a whole lot of time. And these are movies I really enjoy talking about. Some of these are well known, but we're going to get to, in the future, like, within the next 5 or 6 episodes, we are going to get to some movies that probably not a lot of you know about. So that's exciting. Can't wait for that. But today we will be talking about Clue. Got the Blu-ray here, obviously. Love how this Blu-ray looks. I had the DVD with this version of the DVD. I have a couple versions, but I'm thinking about trading those in because the Blu-ray has everything the DVD has. Anyway, released on December 13th, 1985. 80s fan. Obviously, I was born in 88. A budget of $15 million, and it only made $14.6. So it lost a lot of money for Paramount. But has since earned a cult following. I love this as a kid. I used to get this and Murder by Death mixed up. We'll talk about why a little later. But used to get these two mixed up. Not sure why. They don't really have... I mean, yes, they're all go to this mansion where people get killed off. But anyway, so I always thought that was funny. I couldn't remember the names as a kid because you just watch it and you don't know what it's called because it's on TV. But so excited when I found out what it was called and then found Murdered by Death a little later. Is obviously based on the board game Clue, or Cluedo, depending on where you're from. The story was written by Jonathan Lynn and John Landis, who is a great director. Blues Brothers, American Werewolf in London, a segment of the Twilight Zone movie. And he directed the segments where the child actors and when the main actors was killed because they were working way too late and the helicopter flew a little too close, got caught in the wires. Sadly, all three of them passed away, and that's why a bunch of stuff had to change. Child actors can only work a certain amount of time, never at night. Anyway, I could do a whole video just on the Twilight Zone movie. Still enjoy it, but just the tragedy surrounding it. Jonathan Lynn directed this. He wrote brilliant, we'll talk about that, but brilliant screenplay. He also directed My Cousin Vinny, which is a great courtroom drama. I love My Cousin Vinny. Marissa Tomei is in that. She won Best Actress for that role. He also directed Distinguished Gentleman, Eddie Murphy, Greedy, Michael J. Fox, that's one of my favorites, and The Whole Nine Yards, which is great. Bruce Willis plays, is it Jimmy Tulip? I think that's right. Yeah, I believe I'm right. Love Whole Nine Yards. He directed only 10 films in total, which probably for him was a lot, but when you look at other directors like Alfred Hitchcock, who directed over 50, and Spielberg, who's probably up there in the 50s. I don't know how many exactly Spielberg has directed, but it's up there. So 10 is not a lot, but there's some directors who only direct one. So, of course, Deborah Hill produced this movie, who also produced movies for Tim Burton and John Carpenter, who was her husband at one point. Sadly, they split before, I believe it was Halloween 2. I believe I'm correct, because I think I remember Jamie Lee Curtis saying something about that when they were all making 2. Anyway, so she produces it. The screenplay is so brilliant and smart. Just to give you an example, when Miss Peacock wants to powder her nose and she's talking to a vet, and she tells her where it is, and she says, "Oui, oui, madame," and she says, "No, I just have to powder my nose." That is the kind of top-level jokes that are in this movie, and it's so natural. The actors all do a great job delivering these lines. I don't know what was improvised, because I know a bunch of it was improvised, and how much was actually written. I would love to know that. I actually have the screenplay over here. Oh, it's gonna be dark, but yeah, right there. Signed by the cast. Got that as a birthday gift many years ago. Anyway, so I should look in there and see what's written and what's actually a joke in the film. But speaking of the cast, we can talk about them. Tim Curry, obviously, as Wadsworth. Right there. To me, this is one of his best performances. People say Pennywise, many other things, but he is great, so great in this movie. Then you have Christopher Lloyd, obviously, as Professor Plum. Again, most people know him for Back to the Future. A great ensemble cast, though. Michael McKean, who's Mr. Green, who's known for Laverne and Shirley. Madeline Kahn, Mrs. White. She did several Mel Brooks films, including Young Frankenstein. Then you have Martin Mull, who I know from Beverly Hills Family Robinson. Great Disney movie. But a fun fact, he was also in Family Dog, which is a animated show I will never stop talking about, because you had Tim Burton, Steven Spielberg, and Brad Bird all worked on this show and created it and directed it and produced it. That just, when I found that out, that blew my mind. Sadly, it's never been, I think there's like a couple VHS releases, but sadly never got a DVD release that I know of. Maybe overseas can correct me, but I'm pretty sure never has. So the fact that he was on Family Dog blows my mind. I love that show. The fact that those three brilliant guys all worked on it. Anyway, I could do a video on Family Dog. He was also in Mrs. Doubtfire. Then you have Elaine Brennan, I believe it's Elaine Brennan, who is Mrs. Peacock. She was in Jeepers Creepers. I think she's the lady at the end. who gets killed by the creeper. I think, don't quote me on that. But looking at her filmography, I was shocked to find out that she was also in Murder by Death. And that could be why I got them confused as a child. Because she's in both films. Elaine Brennan. So when I found that out, I'm like, well, that makes sense. That could be why I got them confused as a child. Also starring Leslie Ann Warren, who's in a bunch of stuff I didn't know. Happiest Millionaire, Disney. Then the One Genuine something Family Band, also Disney. Insanely long title. She was also in the Mission Impossible series, Columbo, episode of the Columbo, episode of The Muppet Show. That is awesome. Her filmography is insane. Crossing Jordan, Daredevil, the Netflix Daredevil show. That's pretty awesome. And her, Martin Mull, and I believe Christopher Lloyd, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, was on an episode of Psych, which is a great show. Love that show. After Monk went off the air, and that was our favorite show at the time, and then right after that, Psych came on. We're like, we'll just try it. You never know. And also a great series. So anyway, they were in an episode of 100 Clues, which kind of parodied Clue the movie. So that is a great episode. Go look that up. Okay, then you had Colleen Camp, who is a vet. Love a vet. Who doesn't love a vet? She was in the Police Academy series. I'm trying to picture in that. I don't know for certain. Comment down below if you know. I didn't look it up. I just saw Police Academy series. Then she was in Mystery Woman, which is a great Hallmark Mysteries series. I know, Hallmark, ew. They do terrible movies. No. When it comes to their romance movies are very predictable. You can watch from the start of the film, already know what's going to happen. Anyway, their mystery series, though, are really good. I'm dead serious. Go check out Hallmark Mysteries. Some of my favorite shows. Mystery Woman might be my favorite that they did. It stars a girl from ER, and she played Christy in the series. I don't know her name. I didn't write it down. Anyway, Colleen Camp was also in an episode of Signed, Sealed, Delivered, which is another great Hallmark Mysteries series. I know, Hallmark Mysteries. Anyway, I'm serious though. Go check them out. Most of them are great. I've not seen all of them, but murder mysteries are my favorite genre, so, so Clue is definitely up there. Top 5 for me, definitely. And this one works great as a murder mystery. There are 3 different endings to Clue. And they did that kind of like a marketing thing. Okay, you saw this ending, but have you seen the other 2? So you gotta go back and see the other 2 endings, to try and get people to come back. It did not work, obviously, because it only made $14.6 on a $15 million budget, but I like all 3 endings. I I will say probably the one, well, I don't want to give too much away, but one of them is my favorite, yes. I mean, you've already been spoiled anyway, so the one with Miss Scarlet, I think, works the best. If you haven't seen it by now, I mean, we're reviewing it, so anyway, you've been warned. But every time I watch this movie, I find new things, like someone looking at someone, or a reaction one person has when the camera is over here. You know, I'll watch it probably way too much. But it's so rewatchable. You could watch it over and over again, like the original Star Wars trilogy. I could watch that over and over again. You know, same with Rear Window, Burbs, Ghost and Mr. Chicken, 101 Dalmatians, all those I could watch over and over again. That's probably why those are some of the first ones I'm reviewing. Anyway, as far as remakes go, there was a remake that was going to be written and maybe not written, directed by Gore Verbinski, obviously, who directed the Pirates films, Rango, Lone Ranger, the Ring remake, which is a great remake. So he lost that. He also lost the BioShock movie, which I was very excited about because I was actually playing that game at the time. I played all three back to back, beat them all, and then of course I got tired of the series and quit, and eventually sold my Xbox to Cab. But yeah, he lost on both of those movies, I think almost back to back, so feel sorry for the guy, but I think he would have done a good job with Clue. But now, Ryan Reynolds is trying to get a movie together. I believe he is writing it with a couple, I believe it's the writers of Deadpool. I'm not exactly sure. That's been 2 years ago. Also, well, the last I heard was a year ago that they were still working on it. But it was going to star him and Jason Bateman, and that was pretty much as far as they had gotten. So, anyway, that is going to do it for today. Well, probably the longest episode to date. But Clue is, if not besides Star Wars, my favorite movie. I say Star Wars is my favorite trilogy. Clue is my favorite standalone movie. So, there you go. Hope you guys did enjoy this. Next week's episode will be another top 10 for me, obviously, because that's all we've been doing so far. The Ghost and Mr. Chicken, starring Don Knotts. So, stick around, tune in next week for that video. Can't wait to share that one. Then we're going to get into some more obscure ones down the road. So stay tuned for that. But for now, go watch The Ghost and Mr. Chicken so we can talk about next week. Alright, bye.